Having I think with the transfer.
Okay. Call the order here. Okay, call to order the airport board meeting on July 1st, 2021 at 5:35. Let's do roll call. Colton Roberts.
Clyde Stansfield.
Josh Page.
Ryan Claiborne. J.R. Bird.
Kim Sylvester.
Okay, and then take minutes.
Did anyone have any changes or amendments to the minutes?
No, anybody, no? Yeah, I don't think so, so.
My name spelled correctly, that's all I. So.
Spelled J.R. wrong.
What?
Yeah, I shouldn't have a period in there.
Yes.
You got it. This one?
Yeah.
We did skip one thing though.
We didn't have a
The
quorum.
last-
I didn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have it up, okay.
Okay,
I wasn't here on that.
so let's see, why don't we,
We just need a motion to approve.
I'll motion to approve.
Motion second,
All in favor?
you know, favor.
Aye.
Okay.
I can vote. There's at least three, right?
Okay, why don't we, see if we can. Kimberly, whatever you-
Quickly,
Yeah,
quickly.
we'll do your stuff first, so you guys can leave, and
I think we're to a point now, there's a few things we probably should look through real quick. But then I think we're to a point where, I don't know, did that get sent over to the city attorney yet, Ryan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we just haven't heard back. Him on that. Okay, Colton gave us a few comments to talk about. If you wanna scroll down to start maybe with, page 6, I think is the first real comment there.
Oh, you were the one that Colton sent?
No, that, I'm, 6:39. Yeah, I think you're doing great. You're on 6:39, yep, so I'm looking for 1.02.130. Maybe on the next page, I did a little formatting.
Oh, right there at the bottom.
Right, so you had, does the airport manager need to know about small incidents, this for accidents, to be reported? And you and we discussed this a little bit today, small accidents like ground loops, if city property is not damaged. One of the thoughts that I had is it would be nice for an airport manager or the city, we probably should, at this point, maybe make that city. Language is city, just because we don't have the airport manager currently. But, because what you brought up, Clyde, when you and I were talking, was you went out there and saw a bunch of mud on the runway and thinking, oh my goodness, and then, didn't know where it came from, that could be applauded you.
yeah.
And then once you got over to the side, noticed, wait, there's a light missing. Oh, I can see, somebody drove off the runway.
Who did that?
But yeah, more of a, even if there's not property damage, for like the light was taken out on that item, and there's but was there
Yeah.
the issue is more FOD, foreign object debris, things that can be sucked into an airplane engine. That it'd be nice for some people who maintain that airport to be able to go
Be
clean
aware
up
of it,
any.
go look at least.
Yeah, make sure there's no issues that could affect another aircraft that comes in right after that. So if you're okay with that, we'll leave that alone. Let's see. Okay, next item was on the next page there. 1.02.160, item 6. So we want, thought maybe we should change that instead of cars. I think the intent here is, to try to keep the, corporate support vehicles, we'll call them. Off, they tend to, when a large jet comes in and they have a lot, passengers, some of the support vehicles that come in with them to help offload passengers and things, can clog up the ramp, and stay parked for long periods of time as well. So we were gonna change that language to say tenants or non-tenant vehicles instead of cars.
Yeah.
And then delete the second sentence. And I've already made these changes in my Word file, so, and then keep the third sentence where it says drivers will proceed carefully with 10 miles an hour, and then delete the last sentence about the passenger baggage transfer. It's just to keep the ramp clear from vehicles and people who are not tenants on the airport, keeping their vehicles off the ramp. So the parking lot's not that far.
Some of them just plug off, like right in front of your hangar, they'll just plug up the whole thing when a taxi ramps. They'll stay there an hour, doing whatever they do.
That fishing game today?
Yeah, like fishing game today.
Fishing game today, yep, yep.
Did they do that?
Well,
Yeah, they have their fish tanks and their fuel trucks.
they were in front of your hangar.
Yeah.
Glad you were there.
Clogging up with,
But
So
the good news is it's
fish-
time to go fishing.
They're dumping fish.
Yeah, they were dropping the fish today. So if you guys are okay with that, those changes there. Item 7, the next one, we're gonna cross out that first sentence and replace it with no maintenance shall be done on the ramp that blocks the taxi parking areas for more than 30 minutes. Again, the concern is people camping out in areas that, blocking movement further.
just bring that up, because I've had people that landed with a flat tire, and they're stuck out there. And so it's like, you gotta do some maintenance to get them out of the way, and so that was basically saying no maintenance. So just to try to get them off the ramp, moved, such and such.
Okay, and then the last sentence refers to licensed AMPs, and not being able to perform without a commercial operator's license. I was a little confused on this one. We kind of went back and forth on that a little bit. Wanted to get your input, Mayor,
Where is
on
that?
it. So that's the
Number
item 7, the
7.
last sentence of item 7, so repairs to aircraft requiring expertise of a licensed airframe mechanic. The way it's written, it feels like it unduly restricts other mechanics from coming in
Well, that was intentional before,
at the time. Right, and that's why I want to make sure that we're not,
which is why we're here talking about this, because
right.
we don't want it that
But we
way.
want licensed AMPs to be doing that work.
Right,
But they don't need to be a commercial operator, on the airport,
correct.
right? So like, an example would be a nice jet comes in and breaks down, that owner wants his mechanic to work
Oh,
on it,
absolutely.
he wants to bring his
Well,
mechanic
Give you an
in.
example, I know I had a mechanic come and work on my airplane
Mhm.
several different times, because I wasn't gonna choose the mechanic that was there.
Mhm.
And, I guess I would get in violation of this, however, I didn't even know this existed
Yeah, I
at
didn't
the
know
time.
this either.
Right, so I just have a note that I wasn't sure how to reword that, I'm gonna work with Chalk Tom how to reword that actual sentence there.
Well, to be honest,
It's almost like you could just
Get rid of that.
sentence.
because ultimately it's the responsibility of the aircraft owner to make sure that anything done to their aircraft is done by FAA regs.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So I don't know.
If there needs to be a standard of who and who can't do it when it's up to them. So if they keep their aircraft airworthy by using mechanics that they want to use, then that's their choice. And they're not limited to who's ever on base. Or.
Yeah, because the FAA takes care of that, like that's not.
That's a grant assurance, it's
Yeah.
not limiting competition on the airport.
Right, and removing that last sentence completely, like I said, it's my responsibility to make sure my airplane is worked on by a license.
Yeah, or
And
even,
the,
So what we'll do is we'll show that as a strikeout, and then I'd like to have, make sure that Grant, the attorney is comfortable with that too. You know.
yeah, okay, like either way, even if we put all repairs to aircraft, need to be done by a licensed, you know, airframe man or power plant mechanic, something like that. And just leave it at that, that's fine with me, but
I mean, there's even stuff like, not even mechanic, there's like geostatic checks, there's all sorts of avionic shops that come in, I mean.
well, I have, so in fact, nobody does that around here, so a guy from Colorado comes around once a year and hits everybody's plane.
Yeah,
And they're not necessarily
they're not
licensed.
taking
on
fees,
the-
but they have a repair certificate by the FAA, so that's another thing to do.
I just think that sentence, and it's my responsibility as the airplane owner to make sure that those things are done, which. However, maybe we wanna leave
Maybe
it in
it
there.
performed by those that are licensed.
Yeah, there you go.
Did you want to
Because
make
there's a question of a, question came up recently of an engine that was overhauled and zeroed out by somebody that is not legal to do that.
So it licensed to perform such work.
Yeah, and how do you even police that?
That's more the FAA.
Yeah, the mechanic,
Yeah.
yeah, the NTSB.
Yeah,
The airport operator would do an annual check on any of these certificate holders and who are renting a facility and operating, so.
Yeah,
If you have somebody who's flying in to work on a specific airplane and then flying out again.
Yeah, no,
You
you,
know,
you
you
won't
can't-
check it unless you increase the checks, but you just want to make sure that they've got SPCs or.
Yeah.
operators.
maybe that's a question I can ask afterwards too and get a little more detail.
Make a note that you'll follow up with Mayor. Okay. The next one is on page 8, item 15. We, quote and recommend changing the runway end on the, designated as the calm wind downhill runway, to 7 instead of 25.
so that's not reasonable, to you guys, they're taking off downhill
I always take off on 7 unless,
when,
Okay.
yeah, cause I mean, the downhill, and I hate taking off uphill, and taxiing uphill, and well, and taxi, but
but it depends on which way I'm going. If it's calm
well.
and I'm
yeah.
heading east, I'm gonna pick up on 7. If it's calm and I'm heading west, I'm gonna pick up on 25. And is that okay for me to do?
Fine.
I think it's fine, I think it's probably just talking about like 3 or 4 people in the pattern, and someone just. I don't know,
Randomly
I
goes
think-
down to 25 and everybody else is lined up at 7.
You know, that's like issues, downhill thing.
How often do you guys have aircraft lined up on the taxiway waiting to take
Yeah.
off? I mean, it can happen. I'm not saying, it was pretty busy today out there.
Line up to where-
It was busy. We were out there most of the day today and it was pretty busy.
That's good.
Yeah, several nice jets came in.
That's really good. Were we able to give them fuel or did they need
Yep.
fuel?
No, they are. We watched them.
I bet we're selling more fuel than we have in a while. I would be curious to see.
They want to.
I'm not sure about the,
We just refilled that.
I'm just trying to think, like, does anybody, is that in the can that we put or something like that?
Maybe.
Some airports will put something like that on their 5010.
Yeah.
It's the airport record.
Uh-huh.
But that's more like if they have, I don't want to say, like neighborhoods underneath the approach or something, they're trying to keep the traffic, and during calm wind, that we prefer you to use this other end because we don't want the, engines going, aircraft
Yeah.
going over the neighborhood.
I'm just wondering where this information will be displayed eventually so that people will know. Because the reason I ask is because I'm thinking of, I didn't even know there was a calm runway, a designated one until now, and I've been out there since 2010.
And I actually found a copy of, the minimum standards buried on the airport's website too, the city website for the airport.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, like,
Yeah.
if we post it to AirNav and we get it out there to, so, the NOTAM or something like that, so aircraft that are looking at coming in and flying in the area see it, and everybody begins to learn what that is, and I see it of use, and otherwise I just don't think it matters.
Yeah,
Whether it's 725,
I don't think it really matters either, like, but we could just exit out that,
Yeah.
sounds better to me. Because I know a $5 million jet is gonna come in from Vernal, and he says, I don't really care, I'm coming in on one time.
yeah,
And he just,
This is what I'm doing.
you know, he's got a new pattern.
exactly. I just don't know.
I'll make a note to consider that for deletion,
And we can keep it there as long as, I'm just saying, as long as it's of use. If it's something that we display so that pilots become accustomed to doing that and they're trained that way, then I say, yeah, it's of use. But if it's gonna be in there and nobody ever looks at it,
Looked at it, there's only 3 people that know about it.
yeah, then it doesn't. I mean, you gotta realize a lot of the pilots out there are taught not to communicate really anyway, so.
Yeah. I see that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't even, because we're technically not in airspace where we have to use the radio, so why would you rather use the radio?
Nobody's there.
It is visual, I mean,
I don't know.
see another airplane coming at you on the runway,
I know, and that's happened before, which is ridiculous.
Maybe they're quite.
Can we get a different designated airspace, or we force people to talk, or is that's just done by, like, to go to a class, well, we have to go to a class D, right?
I don't know.
Is that right?
C, but seat office, that's designation that the FAA gave to the E class space,
Okay,
airspace.
E?
Yeah.
And we're D right now, I guess.
Okay, D and D
It's
and
eight.
they won't use seat top. You can have another frequency without being internal, but it's common practice to use seat top.
No, we're class G.
Yeah, what's that, Steve?
We're class G right now. E and D and C, D and E are controlled. I think E is like designated certain hours, something like that.
E is in G.
Well, we'd have to look at that. Anyway, I'm just wondering,
So you're.
for safety purposes, I'd like the pilots to learn.
That's practice to this using seat top.
I always do, even if I'm the only one up there that I sound like a retard talking to myself.
That is something that
And I
you need no time.
Yeah.
But permanent no time. For continuous use of seat top. So every time they hear it.
Okay. Maybe that's something we can address that way then.
Would be
Make these
nice.
notes. And get your. Next item is on page 18. Almost done. Last one.
So you'll change everywhere it says airport manager to,
I think so, yeah. We make that do on this one.
because I'm seeing that several times.
Right, and that's where, airport manager versus city is, if you guys would get an FBO and they kind of become your airport manager in that sense. But we don't have
Maybe we could put or and or.
City. Yeah, that's maybe, it doesn't both
Yeah,
/ city
okay.
representative or
I
something.
really would like to be net the owner then. I mean, I know that might be a little bit.
Well, you can only get. Okay, we're on, did I say 17?
You said
18.
I said 18, okay. No, I meant 16, I'm sorry. And this is, on the framing, item 4 up there, right there, it says, framing shall be made of metal. There's a question on, I can't recall if we had a reason why wood frame, like a pole barn, would not be allowed. I don't know if we talked about that in a previous meeting. We wanted the steel outer, this shell.
After looking at the fire code, that really should designate, I mean, as far as the facade, what's on the outside. We want some uniformity in that. But as
Right.
far as the general construction, as long as it meets, in my mind, as long as it meets fire code, then I don't see any problem with that. The only problem I would see with a wood structure is if it was very close to another structure and it catches fire and then it actually puts another structure.
Well, and that's gonna be where your building inspector would have to weigh in on that as far as sprinklers. and
True.
fire
So I mean, a lot of
protection.
the night code that says, okay, you're 20 feet apart, whatever you have to be,
Yeah,
such and such.
but wood structure is allowed.
You can think,
I think in fire code on the airport.
Yeah.
But it's gotta be, it can't be over a certain size, I know that, like,
yeah,
you have, what, certain sizes that wood materials and then size will designate whether you need fire suppression and how many extinguishers you need and everything else is lined out in there. So I would almost just say framing, exterior would be, I think we ought to have a standard there, but as far as framing, I just put according to, the fire.
Bill,
Okay, got that. The next item is G right there at the bottom of this page. And that's on the floor ramp. This is something I think we need to look into. I did not get a chance to consult the International Building Code. I did look through the 409, NFPA 409, and did not see any reference to floor thickness or material. There's no reference to concrete or anything in there for that in the 409, but I understand this might be coming from the IBC as far as the thickness of the floor needed for certain hangers over certain sizes. So we need to look into whether it's a weight issue or a size issue or, activities issue as far as the thickness of these floors.
Okay, I know we 4 to 5 inch, I know we were asked 4 to 5 inch.
yeah, that's 4 or 5 inch, I only got an engineer from Chapman's, because thing was, it cost me another $10,000 just to go up from 3 to 5. Because I was saying, okay, well, I can only put in here so heavy of an aircraft that meets the size of this building, and so if it's only like a 50 by 50 or smaller, the aircraft only weighs so much, why are we trying to put, you
It's
know?
like driveway concrete, 3 inches like driveway
Yeah,
concrete.
and, why are we trying to put,
They're 5 inches everywhere.
is that what we do? So, and
I personally wouldn't recommend 3 inches for anything, so. But,
no,
yeah,
we
I
had
understand
5
your
inches, like,
concerns
someone
as
making
well.
a small hangar that's
yeah, 40 by 40,
max 2,500 pound airplane in it. Overkill.
sure.
Yeah.
Again, well, maybe we can defer to some
IBC.
standards on that.
Yeah, and if it says it
Yeah.
in the code, whatever, then that's it.
I just don't think we ought to over-regulate.
Right.
Things are regulated for a reason, and so if it's already there, let's just use what's already there and not try to make it any more difficult.
But I'll just put a note to defer to IBC and fire code. And then the last one, now we're on 18. The first, 1.0430. Okay, so aircraft rental, providing the customers, that was something that wanted to delete. As it's hard for a CFI to train or rent without, requiring to have a shop. A pilot lounge, basically.
Yeah.
And then that was also repeated again in aircraft sales. You scroll down to the next one there, the last item. That item D there, do we want to delete that one? And then it's also repeated again on the flight instruction, which is on the next page. I can see there.
No.
Deleting them. Okay, so we did take those out. Make sure you guys are comfortable with that.
The only reason I would say put anything like that in is if we have 14 people out there trying to do the same thing we're trying to reduce. We're trying to get people to come
Right.
and provide those services, and we need to make it as
Right.
easy as possible.
I mean, like, still, if even someone has their own airplane, or, and he wants to
Well,
rent it out,
he's not gonna go,
he's not gonna make a lounge and have to make a building, because there would be no, he couldn't,
Well, and that's why we have the city open to the public.
Yeah.
So that some of those amenities can be provided through that with,
Like most airports also have a public use.
But if you
Room.
open that hangar, that pilot lounge up for an FBO to control, and then the FBO is doing flight instruction, but then you have somebody else that wants to do flight instruction,
that,
there may be a
then,
conflict.
then we have to look at that. I think.
So the recommendation was made to just delete that requirement for an office and
Yeah,
hangar lounge and all that. I think that's, the intent of that could have been to try to limit that to limit it to the FBO having control over flight instruction, or the sales or the rentals. But, that might be unduly
I mean,
prohibitive.
even if the guy has his own hangar and just airplane in there, I mean, and he wants to do flight instruction,
yeah.
I mean, he has the right to do that. I mean, not that it has to be air conditioned, but
Being honest, but
maybe if he says, I'm gonna build a
Might get
ground
more
school.
clients.
Now, we'll come over there, we'll do the ground school and then we'll go to the airport and fly. So that's really hard to regulate in any way.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think
As
it's,
long as he doesn't know.
What do you guys feel? As small as our airport is, I feel like we need to encourage as much.
Yeah, I do.
yeah, I think the way it's written is too prohibitive and we should delete the language. The last item is item B there at the bottom of the page. Colton pointed out that 5 years is a lot. You only need 2 years to get a license. Is that something you guys want to consider reducing down? Because you require CFI to have 5 years of experience.
Then you can teach.
And that could be an insurance issue as well.
He gets his license to be a CFI, he has to have 5 years before he can teach him. That's the same thing that.
Again, FAA states that you can teach
He
the
can
day
teach. So, same thing here, FAA says,
And as long as the insurance or, so there's no liability issues there for your city, then
Yeah,
that's fine.
and
So
it's-
reduce to 2.
Right, and all I would say is that. This is funny, I wonder when these were written. I can
do
guess
too.
about 4 years ago. Or 5. But anyway, the only thing that I would stipulate I would say an operator providing 100-hour annual or phase inspections, major airframe engine repairs shall hold FAA licensed airframe and power plant mechanics certified with AI inspection authority and the proper general liability insurances. Or proper, because anybody providing any services out there should have insurances.
No, the problem is it's like trying to find mechanic insurance or isn't.
Well, yeah, but for the instance of Shad Bill's plane going down.
Yeah, but that was not so that is how we're dealing with the FAA,
The lessons,
his license or whatever, and then personally coming after him. Because it says.
I guess it would only apply if we hire.
Yeah.
Contract person. If it's a private entity coming and performing maintenance
Then that's your
or
own
flight
license.
instruction, then that's the risk of the person. If it's us contracting with somebody like me, FBO, to provide that service, then we need to make sure, but we can do it through contract. That they have the
okay,
proper general.
so just maybe
So you could stop it right there,
after authority.
yeah.
Okay, delete. So the last sentence says said requirement shall serve to reduce potential city liability and enhance aviation safety for people and property. Again, where that came from, I'm not sure. But you're saying delete everything after authority?
Yeah,
Done. Okay, that's all the comments that we've received since the last iteration that we discussed. I didn't know if you guys wanted to go through the regulations, rules and regs, and then we also, I don't think you weren't here at the last meeting. we did have the FBO RFP is also in here. We can scroll through those. And just see if there's anything you guys wanna, this goes on for another 20 pages, so. No minimum standards too. There we go. Wait, no, keep on. Yep, you're good, sorry. I know.
See this, it will make it so much easier.
That is so crazy, that's.
Oh, you can't see it on your screen?
No.
Oh, no.
I can't believe they can't.
Okay, here's the rules and regs.
Yeah.
Is there anything specific you want me to stop on here?
I don't have anything, I was seeing if there's anything highlighted or comments, just maybe look at the comments and
Oh,
questions
yeah.
there.
We talked about the helicopter park, and we talked about it being on the east,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, which is that the first
Permanently
one?
on the east.
Reflect run-ups?
West.
Well, permanently, we thought about putting it on the east, currently it's on. There is.
Well, that would be something we'd go through the master plan for.
Yeah. By interim, where do we put them in?
Oh, I see. Right, I'm squinting to see. Oh, sure. Okay, and then we talked about need to be identification for. So that's more, I think, just a note that we need, that's something that will be addressed in your, when you guys go, should be addressed when you guys go through the master
Okay,
plan. And then, oh, another item is that designated maintenance area. You know, we talked about the FBO lease area being the entire apron. If we have a designated maintenance area spot, that may need to be annexed out of the FBO lease area. Or
Yeah,
figure out how you would
A
wanna,
lot of people do, they wanna go and try to run up their plane and whatever maintenance they can do as a private pilot, so they can go out here and run it up, do whatever, bring it back in. As a whole,
there's nowhere for them to.
you're not technically allowed to do
do
anything
that,
there.
right?
Yeah, cause you don't wanna send a broken down aircraft to hobble down at the end of the runway down there. And, you know,
To go do run-ups and.
run off
turn
or
around.
whatever you're trying to check, such and such. I don't know where, on the runway, maybe that would be a good spot to do.
Right in front of your hangar.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, right there where that blue airplane is, right
Yep.
there, probably the best spot. Blow it,
Which is
blow it
outside of
that
the lease
way.
area.
Yeah, I mean, not a bad spot.
So they'll be-
So we thinking of doing that in that area.
I mean, that would be a good spot until one day it's paved, and I don't know if I'll have to change it up again, but I mean, it's a.
Does Merle have anywhere like that?
I think honestly, Don, he just takes his airplane out where his fuel truck is, turns the fence and gives it hell that way. It's going away from all the hangars and flowing out toward the runway, and I think that's about, yeah.
Maybe we can go out there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's really a big problem as of right now, but if an ideal estimate.
Okay. Yeah, that yellow. Just that what we changed last time. Yeah, it should say building code and fire marshal.
Mhm.
Okay, keep going, keep going. And? Leaving it hanging. Yeah, we don't want those up running around on those non-aircraft vehicles that are non-maintenance.
Go back up.
What if
and-
we were ever to do a drag race or something like that?
Keep it off the runway.
Yeah.
That's what I keep telling Ryan, keep it off the runway.
Just on the taxiway, right?
My brand new taxiway.
bringing thousands of bucks.
Yeah.
They're gonna be- Yeah, if they're okay with the grades up there,
We got a race at night. Can't do anything during the day.
Yeah, you can't fly at night, right?
Low key.
that's right. And don't tell your engineer about it.
Wasn't planning on
I know. All right, what else we got? Anything else commented or highlighted in there? Oh, wait, that was, we changed the designated person there. Okay, here's your RFP. For the FBO.
Did that make it look like he was the airport manager?
No, it said public work director.
Mhm.
Didn't it?
It said airport manager, so
Let's go back.
I think and or.
it was quick, so I didn't catch all of it.
Yeah.
So is he both or is he?
Well, that's where,
It says and airport manager down below.
yeah, I think that was, so if you get a FBO or commercial operator in there, they're the first ones that are probably going to be notified as. whoever
Well, do you
notified.
need the airport manager? It says it twice, but do you need it before by dialing Kirby Wolfinger? I mean, do you need it right there?
I don't think you do. I think we can.
Because
do that.
Kirby's only the public works director is what I was looking at.
Yeah, 800.15 and delete first reference to airport manager.
Just thinking.
Mhm.
Good catch, Ryan. Okay, I think this, we haven't done much with this since you've seen it last, Mayor. We did talk a little bit last month with Colton and what was that, last non-meeting? So there were some small changes, but, I think this is something, whenever you guys are ready to go, what we want, you want to adopt the rules and regs and the minimum standards, but
We
then,
want to change that to Josh Bates now.
Yeah, we definitely want to take that character off.
right? You might just, have Ryan be in charge of the airport still, I'm just saying. Just because I like to, needle you.
You get talking, you're leaning, I'm like.
Yeah, so we'll update,
Wrong up there anyway, so.
We'll update to,
Rossville.
Actually, leave it like that.
Rossville, yeah, that'll work.
If you leave my name up, leave that email the same.
We'll fix that one. That's. Update contact. Okay. I'm not sure why that's highlighted unless we added that.
Opportunities is OPPOR too, isn't it?
Can I see the word opportunity?
It's in the, it's.
Oh, yeah, that looks funny. Who are opportunities,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm sure
okay.
it's OPPO.
Three.
Yeah.
Spelling. That was I think we still need to talk with Dean about that. Right side of the building being clear. Cause I think we were talking about the, area around the building be available for storage. Big area in that hangar. Okay. And we'll update that roofing for if it's done after, before you guys actually go out for selection on that one.
I think I'm gonna hand that over to our city manager as well.
I called Mr. Barton today.
I'm laughing because it's funny.
Well, we've been talking, we did kind of just split up duties, but, we went out for bid on the airport hangar roof.
It's coming up next.
Okay,
I think. If you wanted to wait.
Yeah.
We were gonna discuss it.
that's good.
It's on the agenda. Okay, these are changes we made here, so we had the flow HP, needing to establish a flow HP, at some point. And that might be something for the next board meeting for you guys to look at rates and discuss it, what you guys want to do for fees on that.
Yeah, no hangar, our, rental charges certain amount per gallon. It's-
Yeah, it's usually somewhere between like 4 and 12 or 16 cents a gallon, depending on where you are.
We probably only do that. Roosevelt out of the business assigned to a period, right?
You want to have a cut of it, I would think. I would advise you to have a cut.
Yeah.
Because you are going to be maintaining the system. If you
So a
have,
larger cut than this.
well, I mean, because they're gonna be doing minor repairs to, and maintenance, but
Well-
anything major you have to fix.
What I look at this as though is, for example, Diamond and Apex, just to have their fuel trucks on the ramp, they pay Vernal City a certain amount. They maintain all their own equipment and everything else, but they still pay Vernal City. I can't remember, it's not a lot, a little bit per gallon. So we want to have that established for any FBO, but yeah, if there was an FBO that we turned over our fuel tanks to, then yeah, we would get a larger portion of that. That could be done by contract.
Yeah, yeah, and that can be something you guys negotiate. We can have,
Right.
if you want us to change it to say flowage fees,
I would just set up flowage fees of whatever Brown City is at right now. And I can't remember how many cents a gallon they're at, but that would just be a precautionary if the fuel came in, they had some fuel trucks and things like that. And we allowed them to do that, then we would still collect a certain amount per gallon.
okay, any other question? So this is where you would be setting your ground lease rates. For the hangar itself, for the hangar and the building and the area that they're
We would
renting.
probably do that by negotiation and contract.
Okay. 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 And the forge fees,
So if I have that at 12 cents.
yeah, that's just a plug-in number.
I read Vernal's and I can't remember what it was. It wasn't a whole lot.
No, it's not much typically. Like 8, you're lucky to get anything above 10.
I was thinking it was around 5, I remember correctly.
And this is how you want it, you know, would you, oh, there, I need to highlight the date, never mind. I'll highlight the date, so we remember to change it. Okay. I think we're just about done, thankfully.
This is super exciting though.
I
Like,
Ellie.
know, you keep looking at your phone, you're not exciting.
I'll put it away.
No, you're fine, man, I was just
I don't
kidding
look
you.
at my phone, honestly.
Exactly. I know exactly how exciting this is. Don't worry.
I know Josh is getting it. I'm just loving it because he's an attorney, so he's just looking at this.
Oh, good. Well, that's great. I mean, he's probably making notes like, oh, no, that's good. Sure. So yeah, I think we're just about done with that part of it. it's, it's basically just refining this when you guys are ready to drop this in. After we get the rules and regs and the minimum standards adopted, then you guys, that's when we would recommend going out for selection on a FBO. Would be after that, so. This is the airport.
That's the old.
The outlined area would be the lease area for the FBO. The green is the hangar area.
Updated picture.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's an old one, it's true. Okay, I think we're, you're good.
Well, from that,
So next steps, I think, we'll make a few more edits to the minimum standards and then resend that to, it's you now, to, have the city attorney review. And anything that, in the minimum standards, there was an existing set of minimum standards that we, incorporated some other items, and that stuff has been highlighted in the minimum standards to help the attorney tell the difference. Because I think Grant had reviewed the original one, so this would help to narrow down some of the items that were changed for him. I'm ready to move to the next item unless there's something we need to vote on.
Okay, let's go to the next item.
Yes, grant offer.
D.
So, there's have you received the email yet from Jesse Lyman about grants?
Whether we had it or not.
We've already submitted.
Okay, the
Yeah,
application.
We signed it.
Yeah,
It says that.
That's right, okay. So that's just a more formal aspect of, do you guys want to accept $32,000 for operational expenses?
Yep.
Okay, next
we
item.
use that, so we were talking about, if we come up short on the road, using some of that for that. Is that something we can
I
use
think
that
so,
for?
yeah, that should be because it falls under maintenance.
Perfect,
And we did the hangar door, some of the hangar door.
excellent, and then we talked about utilizing that. And we'll get to the approved here in a minute, still.
All right, okay.
Okay. So I don't know if that's a thing, because it's already been, the application's been sent, I don't know if
It's been sent, I
you
just
guys
don't
need
know.
to have council, do they need to agree to accepting money or not?
We didn't on the last one, so.
Okay. Every city's different.
I know I've been going.
Spending money, yeah, accepting money, we're good, as long as it's not under the table.
Well, that's why I wanted to bring it up and put it on the agenda, so it's
If
on
it's
top.
laundered pretty good, we can accept
All right.
All right.
On the fuel tank training,
Um,
or is there
Yeah.
anything else you?
I was thinking we could just roll it into the roof discussion,
Yeah, let's do it. Okay.
because that's just right on my brain. So you guys had the four quotes, you guys had decided to go with the low bidder, which was Barton Construction, but then I'm not sure all of the happenings since then. I did call Scott today and talk to him briefly.
Did he mention anything about it?
Yeah, he said that he is passing it over to Skyline Roofing.
Yeah,
His-
the guideline passed it over to another one, right? Yes, so we're kind of backing out of that completely.
Okay, so yeah, I had looked at I had looked at some of the quotes and their questions I had on there, as far as, things that some of the other quotes didn't have is, making sure you guys are getting removal and disposal
Mhm.
is included. The PBR, the commercial roof panels are pretty industry standards. There are some concerns though in the industry about, the rubber washer, the fasteners are not, covered, I guess, and the rubber can get brittle after time and sometimes back out. So there was just, a little advisory of keeping an eye on that sort of thing. You guys have skylights in there now. Those will be going away, so it will be darker in there. You won't have those translucent panels.
So we purchased LED lights 2 or 3 times in the
Yeah.
last 5
There's
years.
a lot in there now.
We should, I don't know if we have that.
not sure where the LED lights went. Yeah, so those are the things that are you guys gonna get a new round of quotes now? Is that what the
Yeah,
plan is?
so we're working on that. What we decided is the money that we have saved, we had some money, that we saved from the budget last year.
Right.
So now that it's gonna go ahead and put in the sinking fund, we have another, 35,000 that we budgeted for 2021. It will also go to that fund, and then if we get this 32,000, that'll kind of be back to that. But, and currently I'm working with I think, let me look at the ones that you have.
Yeah, I've got Barton's, Eden's emailed one, and then I've got Bulldog and Badlands. Oh, why you guys got all these?
Yeah.
And then we got Bulldog.
Yeah,
This one was a confusing one.
yeah, that one's,
I think if you do get to go around,
These.
you're probably gonna need to go for a new round because steel prices are just fluctuating so much.
and I called,
But if you specify, you know, the gauge and the insulation and, you know, that you might get better quotes, of exactly what you want. You
right,
know, I think that the quote that, Barton had, as far as what he was gonna do, you know, things, you want removal and disposal offsite.
yeah, and we actually made him do that. We had him put that on
Okay.
the quote, because, and he said, yeah, that was included, and we have new quotes that say it's included. However, we're still not confident in that. So not to mention, it wasn't that entity that we actually ran through council and got approval to give the quote to, and so it's changed since the time. Jessup, he's, like, I'm confident that he can do the work. He came in 15, it looks like, but price didn't mind down that. The next
Right.
highest,
112,
136.
Put to the roof insulation and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, tin screws better. The one here, it doesn't specify the,
tear off.
yeah, is it labor off and cleanup? I don't know if that's what that means, but
Yeah.
I guess.
Labor off and clean up.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta know the line.
You know, I would like to see if I, you know, what exactly what the insulation is that they're
On
use,
19, yeah,
right, rather than insulation.
right.
You know, don't know what you're gonna get as well as the tin and screws, you don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
So those are my recommendations. If you'd like us to look at quotes again, once you get quotes, be happy to.
Yeah. We can do that.
Okay.
And hopefully, some of those will continue to skyrocket like it has. It'll just plateau a little bit.
Okay, I think we go back up to fuel tank training.
Right.
Get back in line.
Okay, so fuel, tank training, Clyde here, and he knows everything out there.
Sean knows everything.
But if there's a way that I could be trained on the fuel stuff, because there has been probably 3 or 4 jets, or not jets, there's only 2 jets and another aircraft that had to deny service because fuel tank or car operator or whatever is down. And I know that you can take the other card and bypass and call the city and give them a card and write checks, but other than that, you gotta say, I'm sorry, and turn them down. Or Clyde was showing me how the valves and everything works. We had a problem there the other day. The guy filled up, he didn't turn back some valves, and so we couldn't figure out why it wasn't pumping. Anyways, that's just putting that out there. There's quite a bit, and if there is a
That's
problem,
something that probably we can just go as a group out there one day, and several of us look at, so that if you're out of town, one of us could be available, so we could go down and help out.
okay.
I'd be willing to help out, even though I just run down there if I need to.
Is there like a basic checklist we can go through so we don't miss a step or?
There's a checklist that we've been doing. Yeah.
Binders, the checklist.
One of them's your sweat. One of them is your sweat.
I said basic.
I'm going to show someone.
Like the max.
The quick start manual and then like the. everything
Right.
New manual, like
Uh.
the quick start manual. The one page.
Yeah, there's,
Who can change?
I don't know how they work as much. I just know how to design them and put them in. So, that was operations.
Yeah,
But what we were talking about a little bit today out there is, maybe getting someone from, one of the suppliers or, to come in, maybe do some training, some formalized training for several people at a time.
mhm,
And also they could take a look at the system and do an evaluation, an annual inspection, if you will. Something that's supposed to be done by the owners, or you can hire somebody to come and do them. It can be spendy, especially if it's, something you guys haven't had done and you want to tag on some training, but it might be something worth, being that nobody seems to have a lot of proficiency in the fuel system at this point, might be something worth the money to spend.
Kim and I was talking about that. You've got them filters that are,
Like, when do you change them?
is there so many gallons that go through them before you change them, or is it anything? Or-
Right.
I would think that it's how many gallons go through it, because annually, that's, you don't, that could be a lot.
how do you tell how many, is there does the fuel system keep track of how many gallons is flowing through?
The-
each
You
one?
go by yourself.
Yeah, your sales does.
Okay,
Mhm.
so, I'm sure there's an industry standard when we just ask, whoever sells those filters,
And
they
then,
are gonna wanna sell a lot, so they're gonna want to change them every 3,000, not 5,000. But I'm sure if you ask them, they would tell you, those we could sell. would be-
Right, and I've got some contacts I can provide to Kirby and Clyde. To make some phone calls on that. Basically who I called to get your grounding cables and such. Um,
Okay, so I guess we'll go to flying discussion.
Okay, so I'm gonna make that an action item for me to
Oh, sorry.
provide Kirby and Clyde, some contact numbers for equipment, like the filters and such, and then also see if I can get you guys, the supplier, we're talking about maybe possibly shifting suppliers, to someone that might be able to give you a better price on fuel too, and not charge the half loads, the short sales, and then training.
Speaking of this, so are we on fly-ins?
Yeah, so I'll go on to the fly-in discussion, yeah. I didn't bring this one up, so I don't know much about the fly-in discussion.
I don't know who put it on the agenda, but I would like to see, flying, that's one thing. What about an air show or something like that, to really, to bring some interest into our area?
Those are definitely doable. Air shows get expensive because you need a certified air boss.
Oh,
So they can get expensive, just from that, and then insurance as well. You've got, acrobatics and things, planes moving around and all that sort of. Spanish Fork does an air show every year. Theirs is in September 17th, somewhere around that time
mhm.
this year. It's a good one to, if you're thinking about doing, I would plan for next year at this point, probably. But, that'd be a good one to go visit and see how they're doing it. I know Sean went to it last year. And then I can, get you lined up with the airport manager there to talk with about what they go through on theirs. Theirs is pretty extensive. It's all day. They do charge an admission of $12 an adult. I think half for kids.
Hmm.
But it's well attended, but it's also on the Wasatch Front where,
Yeah, there's a lot of population.
right, and so they do pull in like powered parachutes and they have drag racing. Not on the runway,
Hey, did you hear that?
not on the runway, in their apron areas and here and on the taxi lane. So, those things are possible, for sure.
Flying, I don't know how well flying would do, what do you usually try to do with flying?
Pancake breakfast.
Okay, those types of things.
Yeah, and then you might have, volunteer or, have some sponsorship to take kids up on little 10-minute flights or something, or.
What I'd like to do, with the flying is wait till we kind of get the hang of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
Because really, when we want a fly-in, it seems like to me is like customer appreciation barbecue type thing that I
Yeah.
would do.
Uh,
So once you
Tenant
invent
appreciation.
things and you bring people in and you say, here's our, hey, we're kind of overhauled this, we're completely
Mhm.
new and improved, and we want to expose that to.
A lot of the clients that I've been to in Florida, many of them, they invited a lot of veteran bodies,
Okay,
and they would offer them a certain percentage of whatever proceeds and donations.
oh, okay.
Okay, and so they bring tea mugs and stuff and sell and put up donations, etc. They would donate to the airport and they would take up.
Excellent. So those are some ideas that I
Good idea.
Static
could
car
do.
displays.
Yeah,
once the airport hangars kind of,
And they bring their own photo.
yeah, the runway and the taxiway is fantastic. We want people to see that, but we want to have amenities for them as well.
Yeah, because it's just, I mean, even if we just have like a local like breakfast, it's still, yeah, kind of like a place to sit and a place to like set up everything.
Mhm.
But yeah, I didn't know who
This
won
is Hunter Webb's thing.
Oh.
Where is Hunter Web? Goodness.
Okay, well, maybe, I guess
He's a
we'll just,
tail it.
we'll talk to Hunter and see what he was thinking about
You can't
that.
put stuff on the agenda if you're not gonna show up.
Right? Okay, so if there's any, is there any other questions about the plan discussion or nothing? Okay, let's go to the, yeah, we just talked about the new roof. Okay, field service on the city website. So this goes back to the fuel tank training. Again, this, I brought it up because they did have they have a class plan and we could not get diesel out of the pumps. The pump was running, but it just, there was some valve shut. But what the main thing that he said is he looked on, when I looked to the side, he was looking at was air nav, and I don't understand what he was looking at, but he said that we had a service truck for Jet A.
I heard that today as well.
And,
And wait till we looked at it,
and,
314.
and what side is that that you guys were looking at?
Here now.
Air nav. Because I got air nav pulled up right now, I'm trying to.
We don't.
And we don't have that, so we need to change that, because he was pretty pissed about it, because he parked his jet over there, and then they had to push it over to the tank, and then, you know, push it back, so he was kinda upset about that, and then not getting fuel, so we just need to figure out, I don't know who,
Oh, update fuel prices.
do you do it, Kimberly? or-
No, I'm looking to see if we
This
can
goes
figure.
back to one of those things like,
Oh, you have to have a user ID.
you know, there's two ways to handle this. We had an airport manager, that didn't work out so well.
Right.
An airport manager, but, we really don't need, you know, if we had, you know, where Clyde's getting spun up on all of this and everything else, and this ran under the public works department, if we can't find an FBO, the thought that I've always had is we need an 18 or 20-year-old kid
Just sit out there.
that just is Johnny on the spot.
An attendant.
Yeah, that's what we need, is just somebody to have the keys ready for the courtesy car, have a brother if they need, you know, fuel them up, everything else.
That or like a lot of airports, you know, they just hire an old couple.
Yeah,
And they'll have, the guy might have an airplane, so you just give him a hangar spot, and he lives in there, and, you know, he's
Exactly.
always there.
so as we're talking about some of these things like fuel services and whatever, I think that's pertinent to the discussion to have maybe somebody there that's inexpensive
Uh-huh,
that, you know, would be able to provide that service, or you could give them, you know, we have that apartment in the back,
yeah, they live there,
and they can just kind of.
Such and such.
That's, my preference would be an FBO. Are you playing your ears?
Residential in the airport. I mean, it happens yeah, there are airports like up in Wyoming that commonly have someone living on there. It's kind of more security and
That's what this would be, whatever's.
that's
you
what
think
we're
is
gonna call it. Whatever we need to call
24/7 security
it.
surveillance.
Clyde, or I actually probably should go to Kirby, and Clyde, but there is a way on the AirNav website to get a register for an ID and then just, you know, just explain when you get there, you know, if there's issues that, you know, hey, we had to change an FBOs and need new access or something. But yeah, you need to have a user ID to log in and change the fuel prices
Okay.
on that.
And Sean changed that fuel prices. He looked at Vernal's and he said, okay, the Vernal's.
Yeah, it looks like it was changed April 7th. was the last time.
Now, does that
Listed
go-
as 314 for
does that
jet.
go to Air Nav after he changes that, or is that something you have to go in there and change?
No, yeah, no, this, you have to go to AirNav and report it.
and
They're not
report
going
on it?
to look at
So
what
just
your
because
fuel
we
price is.
change the price doesn't.
Right,
mean that
exactly. That's the issue, and that's why they, because the pilots are looking at ForeFlight or AirNav, and I'm not sure where ForeFlight's getting their information, whether it's from AirNav or who, but, it's not up to date, so they come in thinking, oh, yeah, I got 315, oh, it's 345, I would've gone somewhere else.
I've had a lot of,
The guy said this to me today, too.
perhaps, yes.
Well, working
But it's
better
still
than
cheap.
this year than it's,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, bringing him in.
They're coming.
Advertising.
Whoops.
Way
So,
to do it.
all right, any other questions or concerns with that? Is we can, I guess we just need to contact Kirby or Sean.
Well, whoever you guys were designating to have,
Well,
it sounds like Tom has the access, maybe?
Sean, that,
yeah, but he needs to.
and login stuff.
Right, so that's what it sounds
There's
like.
a lot of stuff he was doing on the computer and he didn't put in the books. So I don't know if he needs to come in and let's put it in the books, so it's.
Maybe we can corner
Record it
Sean and
that
just
way.
have him come in and.
Yeah, we'll have to have Sean come in and finalize on a lot of
And
things.
he's got the key. He went out and get into the electrical building.
Yeah, we don't, the electrical vault's locked and we can't get into it.
I don't
We're
know
gonna see
who
if there's a
all has
spare in
keys.
there
You
for
got
that
the
light.
key, so you do that.
No,
You didn't get keys to that?
I did not.
Because Sean changed the lock.
Kirby is in charge of the keys.
So Kirby
Kirby
has
must
some
have
keys
something.
probably then.
Okay.
I have some keys now too. They were pretty, thank you. They gave me keys to the airport office in there and to the, what's it one to?
It's a fuel.
The fuel.
organ, so.
I don't wanna use that one.
Yeah, you can go in now. Let's just get a water.
Cause there's other, another access, the airport data information portal, which is where, which actually does need to stay up to date with who the airport manager is, and right now it's showing as Sean. And he has that access to that, also basedaircraft.com, keeping that up to date, but there's just a bunch of little things, that at the time. And then your NOTA manager, Sean's approved, and then Ryan, you're approved to do notice as well, but you guys want to have some backup on that. Sean's not gonna be doing it anymore.
We'll get with Sean.
Yeah.
We can call in, but we can't. do the computer.
Yeah, the computer thing, you have to have training.
Yes.
All right, okay, let's go to the next agenda there. We got airplane starting in the hangar, taxi discussion. With people's private hangars, I don't really care, but, in the city hangar, that needs to be brought, probably shouldn't start the airplane in the hangar and drive it out or drive it in.
Is that happening?
Well, so Dr. Larson did it, and I don't know where that came from, what he was doing. But
Yeah, you're sandblasting everybody's plane inside.
yeah, and I've seen, I don't know, it's just a bad habit that's been carried on from other administrations that have been at the airport to just not taxi or not have to tug their airplane out, they just
That's
start them
something-
up and out they go.
Talk to Grant about to write into the lease agreement so that they know that that's not.
Yeah, I mean, if it's, yeah, so,
Have we
That's a
finalized
good, but I
the lease
think we can
agreement?
also, I
So that's just.
think we should put that into the, rules and regs
I
and
have to,
standards
that's
as well.
one of my rules and regulations.
Yeah.
Didn't know.
and it probably.
But it needs to be transferred over into the lease agreement so that, because again, it's fine, that's the rule and reg, but that nobody knows about it. It doesn't do any good. So
Right.
We have that, we can reference our rules and regs in our lease agreement, but ultimately it has to be spelled out that this is allowed and this is not allowed.
Yeah. so-
Well, if it's in the lease as far as, the lease for the city hangar?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
That probably in there. It's
If
another,
it's their own private hangar, I don't give a crap.
yeah, I don't care what they wanna do in
I
there.
drive mine in my own private one all the time.
Yeah, it's just other people's airplanes, and I mean, I've had problems with that, but probably something else, and I know it's on the agenda, but with starting airplanes in there, is that, this again is from other training of people, that they need to have the mixture pole, if it's a public use hangar, everybody's renting in it, they need to pull their mixture to kill the engine, not just flip the mag switch. Because if they got a dead mag or loose wire and people are always thinking, let's touch a propeller, fires out. So just like,
Are there planes in there that they shut the mags off?
well, that's how, Howard always taught, he's just like, just turn it off, because he didn't wanna have to kill it, then pump it, then start it again, he just wanted to turn the key and start it up again, because it's already
Oh.
primed and ready.
Well, he
So-
did train me to pull the mixture.
Well, there is that, so I just, maybe on your leases, to say, if you're gonna kill the aircraft in this hangar, or, before you put it in, pull the mixture, because it's just good practice, and then no one wants to have a
That's
problem.
something I don't know that has to be in a rule and reg, but maybe a list of common
Cor-
good practices.
Yeah.
But
It
the
should
one
be,
starting it in the hangar, that's
a, no,
that one comes down to almost a personal preference as far as I would never. I don't want any fuel in my carburetor anyway.
well, right, and that's the thing, is as many mags that came up to, and the wire has shook off and it's not there, it's basically there's been a hot mag. No one knows it, because it's under the counting, and so people are always out there, putting them this way, putting them this way, because they hook their tow bar up to it, and anyways, so, just food for thought, and, for the city hangar, if, people are around that. So. Any other questions on airplane starting the hangar? Okay, we'll move on. Okay, there's some miscellaneous equipment, let's talk with Clyde, there's the motor for the old door. I don't know if you guys are gonna use that or keep it. I don't know, selling it for scrap metal, if so, people are interested in buying it, I'm interested in buying it for other uses. There was some stuff that in the city hangar, there's a small cooler in there. I don't know if you
It
guys want
just
to
goes
get rid of
through.
it.
I'd be open to getting rid of it. It just has to go through a surplus. Same rules that apply to anything else with surplus.
We can send one out.
Well, like Kimberly said too, the money has to stay at the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I figure all that's all bought by the airports, like say or whatever, but anyways, just there was stuff there, cause I continuously have people that see things, like there's old signs and there's all sorts of stuff that they,
Yeah, I had some people want some
the
some
runway
runway or
markers.
taxiway markers. and things.
Yeah, the man cave or whatever they want, so.
I've got my name on those ones, sorry.
Alright, come on.
That's the two that are in my garage.
You're right.
With the old light.
What the heck? Really? Oh my gosh.
Nothing.
What was that RFP discussion?
Can we say that, it was put into my car by someone else before they left their position in the city?
That sounds about like something that individual would do.
Okay, am I absolved?
Anyway, moving on.
Okay, so, yeah.
Nothing worked for you there.
Let's see, so airport master plan. Did we
You
already
didn't even
go
show
over
it, everybody? Man.
It's in my bedroom.
The airport master plan
Oh.
review?
Yes, do we need to take off for that? Let you guys discuss in private?
Well,
that?
we have the FBO RFP review. We didn't hit the FBO RFP review.
That was the last
That was
item.
part
That
of
was,
the
we were,
We
yeah,
did.
yeah. On the back, to the bottom of the,
Oh, okay,
Agenda.
never mind. No. Yeah, I remember seeing it now.
yeah, had a pretty picture of the new taxiway on it.
But yeah, we need to have a discussion. with these
Closed
things.
session? Okay, and then, you're thinking about maybe having a recommendation ready for next council,
Yeah,
which is, Tuesday,
20th.
20th, gotcha,
Yeah, 20th of July.
perfect.
That's when we want to make that decision.
Okay, I guess we'll take,
I
that's
will,
the last thing on the agenda, it's our closed meeting.
this
Well, we
will
have some
be,
back into open session.
yes, Clyde's in charge of this deck now.
I'll be calling, or you can call